So Q4 is here pretty much. And there are 4 steps that we can take to push our products. So this way here, we have a much greater chance of showing up in the Etsy search and the algorithm. And what I want to do here is have Chris do a recap of a live stream that we just did. And this way here, you can have these 4 steps, these 4 key points to helping you crush Q4. So Chris, take it away. What are the 4 things?
This is something that almost everyone misses in this process, is that we have to make sure there's demand. And when we say demand, we're not talking about how many people are searching for a certain thing. What we actually care about here is how many people are buying something. And the easiest way to do that is with something like Everbee, right? You take a look at the individual product or at the search results for a keyword, and you can see a pretty good estimation of what people are selling there, right? We have to start with this. Why do we have to start with things that people are already buying? Because we can have the best designed, most SEO optimized, prettiest images. And if no one is searching for it, and not just searching for it, but searching for it with the intent to buy it, then all of that effort was wasted. And the natural follow-up question that we get to this, Scott, is, okay, I get it. We have to find products that are in demand, but how much demand should I be looking for? And this is where I would stereotypically say, it depends, right? It depends on how much demand you need to meet your goals. And we actually, Scott, did a full live stream that we can link up here, either in the description or somewhere as we're doing this, and broke down how we look at this. But the main way that we look at this really quickly is we look at this profit first. So if we want to make, let's just say $100 a day, and we know we can make $10 per product, that would mean across all of the products that we're looking to launch, we would need 10 sales per day, right? 10 sales at $10 profit would give us $100 a day. Obviously, if you want to make $3,000, $5,000, $10,000, you can scale that up accordingly. But if we're missing out on the demand side of things, and we're not doing that profit calculation to begin with, it doesn't matter what we launch. It doesn't matter how much traffic we drive. It doesn't matter what we're doing. If no one's looking for it and it's not going to help us meet our goals, then we've missed the boat entirely. So once we get through that demand validation, right, we've run the numbers with Everbee. We know that the product that we are launching is going to be something that will help us get to not just our income goal, but our profit goal. What next? And that's where we come into just doing the basics. And this is where most people start and stop their product launch process, whether it's in Q4 or throughout the rest of the year. And what am I talking about here? Doing the basics. This is your listing creation, making sure that we have an SEO optimized title, tags, description, and good quality images on this. Now, when I say SEO optimized, what do I mean by that? I do not mean stuffing every keyword that everybody could possibly use to describe a dancing avocado mug into our title, tag, and descriptions. It needs to be human readable. Etsy says everywhere, the CEO has come out and even said, hey, you don't need to keyword stuff. If you're mentioning it, it's more than enough to get you found. And the rest depends on some of the other things that we're going to talk about. So instead of trying to shove in every variation of cup, mug, teacup, coffee tumbler, all of those things into our title, tags, and descriptions, focus on making it human readable. Personalized dancing avocado mug is going to actually be a better title in most cases than dancing avocado mug, teacup, coffee tumbler, whatever, right? One, because Etsy knows very clearly what it is, and they can infer all of those other things from the keywords that we've chosen to use. And two, it is human readable, which is something that, according to the Etsy buyer survey, was extremely important in terms of the description. A big mistake that we see people making, whether it's in Q4 or throughout the rest of the year, is they take that title and they paste it in the top of the description, and that's the first thing that people see. Why? Because they think they have to repeat those keywords. One, they're already there. Two, that's a really weird experience for somebody who's trying to learn more about the product. So rather than doing that, make sure that your description is written in a way that tells people what the product is, who it's for, and how it's made. And if we do that, then we can actually squeeze in a lot of those other keywords that we wouldn't have been able to shove into that title no matter how many times we tried. And it's still done in a human readable format. Tags, Etsy tags, everybody has their own opinion on them. The fact is, Etsy tags work. Etsy has told us that they rely on tags, at least at this point, right? They're making some changes to the algorithm, but they're still reliant on those tags. Make sure you are filling those out. Do you have to fill in all 13? You should if you can, right? If you run out of things to say about the product and you have 12, it's not going to stop you from getting found. But if you have another keyword or another way to describe the product that you haven't already used, fill those in. They do make a big difference. The last thing in terms of getting the basics right are the images. And Scott, I know you and I have talked about the Etsy buyer survey that we ran, buyers told us, above title, above description, above price, above shipping, above pretty much everything else, the number one thing that determines whether they're going to buy something or not is the images. And so if we're not doing images that are attractive to our customer, we haven't done the basics right. And we'll get into a little bit more about why that's important here in just a little bit. But if we're doing these things to the best of our ability from the beginning, that's going to set us up for success in the SEO algorithm. And I think where a lot of people get confused, Scott, is they say, okay, my keyword matches, I don't have to do anything else. And the sad truth is that's just the first part of how Etsy's SEO algorithm works. And if you think about it, it makes sense. Because if Scott and I both launch a dancing avocado mug, how do they know which one to show? And the answer is they rely on all of the other information that they have about you and your product, because Etsy's goal at the end of the day is to match the person who is searching with the product that they are going to purchase. How do they know that? They know that through everything else that happens. And that brings us, Scott, to step number 3, which is driving traffic. Etsy's SEO algorithm thrives on 2 main things: traffic and sales. And we can launch a product and we can do the hope and pray method. We can do the if you build it, they will come field of dreams approach. And we can wait 3, 4, 5, 6 months for us to go through that Etsy listing boost phase and get some traffic and drips and drabs. Or we can get the Etsy SEO algorithm all of the information it needs to know about our product essentially from day one. How do we do that? You guys have heard us talk in the past about Etsy ads. I'm a huge fan of it as long as you're running them correctly. We don't have to spend $10, $20, $50 a day to figure this stuff out. $3 to $5 a day in most cases is more than enough to get us headed in the right direction. The other hidden benefit of Etsy ads, even if we don't make a sale from this, Scott, is that we're getting all of the data that the algorithm is using, right? We get to look at it in a nice little format. And I know that numbers and words can be confusing when we start to look at this report, but we need to start to take the time to really understand what that data is telling us. When we look at the data we get back from Etsy ads, what Etsy is telling us is when someone types this in, this is what happens. Either we show you and nothing happens, we show you and they click, we show you and they click and buy, right? If we start to see that come up again and again on a keyword, we know that that is something that's going to work for us again and again, and we can start to optimize the listing for it. We can double down on ads, and we can come back in and say, maybe we shouldn't be showing for this keyword. Turn that off in ads. Make sure that if we're showing up for that keyword organically, maybe we take that out of the listing, some of those kinds of things. So driving traffic, especially with Etsy ads, is something I think a lot of people miss out on for a bunch of reasons. The first is you get all of that data. And second, you get it much, much faster. You don't have to wait 3, 4, 5, 6 months. We can get all of the relevant data in just a few weeks. And if we're talking specifically about something like Q4, and we're talking right now, as of the time that we're recording this video, the faster we can get that data, the faster we get in front of that snowball. And if we're not doing that right now, we're going to get left behind. Ads aren't the only way to drive traffic. The other way that I would suggest doing this, and if you've listened to this channel for any length of time, you've probably heard both Scott and I separately go on rants about this. It's going to be with email traffic, right? If you're not building an email list, you're missing out on not just the highest return on investment marketing activity that anybody in the e-commerce world can do, but a hidden source of free traffic that doesn't just send people to those listings, but they're also extremely likely to convert. So you get 2 bonuses for the price of 1. And the question we always get when we talk about email marketing is, Scott, Chris, I thought Etsy said you can't send emails. You absolutely can send emails. The only thing you can't do is scrape a bunch of people out of the back end of Etsy and send them emails if they haven't asked you to, right? If you want to send emails to people, they have to opt in to the list. And this leads me to the traffic driving strategy number 3, Scott, which is what we've referred to as the fishbowl or the giveaway method. If you guys want more on that, you can get that by commenting email down below, and we'll walk you through the entire way that we build and run our giveaways and build our email lists. But if we do this, it's a great way to find people who are interested in our products and start to build that email list. And because we're doing it around a specific product or group of products, when that giveaway is over, yes, we have one winner. So Scott wins the dancing avocado mug. Cool. What about the other 5,000 people that opted in for the giveaway? Well, we send them an email too. And we say, hey, everybody's a winner here at Chris's Avocado Mug Emporium. Go check it out. We'll give you 20% off because we want you to feel like you walked away with something as well. By the way, Scotty V won the Dancing Avocado Mug, but if you still want your chance, you can check it out here. And we're driving traffic and sales from the giveaway as well. And we get this nice side benefit that we've built the email list. So if we're not driving traffic, if we're not utilizing email, we're not utilizing SE ads, Scott, it's very easy, especially during Q4, for the algorithm to ignore us, even if we've done some of the basics right. We've gotten those keywords in there. It's very easy to get ignored. The last thing, and I think this is another thing that just gets left behind, left on the table, is that once we've done the basics, we've made sure that there's demand, we've added in our keywords, we've gotten some good images, and we've started to drive traffic, that our job as the shop owner is to focus on driving sales and optimization. This is where that data from Etsy ads comes in really handy. We need to be looking at our listing and saying, okay, I'm converting at 1%. How are my competitors converting? We go back to something like Everbee. We take a look at how our competitive listings are converting. Are they converting at that 1%? Okay, we're probably in the right ballpark. Are they converting at 4 or 5%? Now it's our job to come back, take a look at their listing and say, hey, what are they doing that I am not? Or is there something they're doing in their images that I am not, right? What is the reason that when somebody comes to their listing, they're 5 times more likely to buy? And we have to take a step back and say, what did we miss in step 2 here, right? What did we miss in the basics? Is it just they're getting traffic from a different keyword? Is it that their images are doing this one weird thing, right? Figure out what they are doing, make a few tweaks to the listing based on what you're seeing your higher converting competitors are doing, what the data you're getting back, both on the organic and paid side from Etsy is telling you, and grow your sales and optimization that way.